Demystifying Complex Sentences, Swapping Out Phrasal Verbs. Hello everyone and welcome back. Today, we're diving deep into a fascinating area of English language learning. We're going to tackle the topic of replacing phrasal verbs in complex sentences. Phrasal verbs can be tricky, but when you replace them with single-word verbs, it often makes complex sentences clearer and more formal. So, are you ready to take your English to the next level? Let's get started. To start off, let's revisit what phrasal verbs are. Phrasal verbs are verbs that are made up of two or more words, a verb and a preposition or an adverb, or both. For example, give up, take off, and get along. They are common in informal English but can sometimes be a challenge for non-native speakers because the meaning of a phrasal verb often differs from the meanings of its individual words. Let's move on to how we can replace these phrasal verbs with single-word verbs. Here are some examples. Give up can be replaced with quit. Take off can be replaced with depart. Get along can be replaced with cooperate. Remember that the replacement verbs often sound more formal, and they don't always carry the exact same connotation or emotional nuance. Be sure to choose your verbs appropriately depending on the context and tone you want to set. Now comes the most exciting part, applying these replacements in complex sentences. Complex sentences contain one independent clause, a clause that can stand alone as a sentence, and at least one dependent clause, a clause that cannot stand alone. Here are some examples. Instead of saying, I gave up smoking because it was taking off too much of my health, you can say, I quit smoking because it was diminishing too much of my health. Instead of, they don't get along although they have to live in the same house, you can say, they don't cooperate although they have to live in the same house. By replacing the phrasal verbs with single-word verbs, the sentences sound more formal and can be easier to understand for non-native speakers. And that wraps up our lesson on replacing phrasal verbs in complex sentences. I hope you found it helpful and enjoyable. Remember, the key to mastering this skill, like all aspects of language learning, is consistent practice. Try replacing phrasal verbs with single-word verbs in your daily English usage, and you'll see improvement over time. Thanks for joining us today, and happy learning. Remember, language learning is a journey, not a destination. Keep practicing, keep experimenting, and most importantly, have fun with it. Until next time.